When you think about all-time Edmonton hockey greats, who do you think of? I bet you think of Wayne Gretzky, Mark Messier, and Jari Kurri. But those three didn't play on the same team until the 1980-81 season. But what if I told you their doppelgangers played together as early as 1978? That's right. Look at this lineup for the AJHL's Edmonton Crusaders from the 1977-78 season, led by star forwards Wayne, Gretzky, Tim, Tessier, and Paul, Kurri. I mean, you can't tell me that's not a crazy coincidence. I refuse to believe there isn't some sort of multiverse thing going on here. Those names sound like something out of an unlicensed NHL video game, where they try to come up with names that are close, but not too close to the real ones. Or when a Japanese guy had to come up with English-sounding names for a baseball
Here
game.
come our players: Sleeve McDykel, Willie Dustis, Onsen Sweeney, Jeremy Gride, Daryl Archidell.
Sleeve McDykel has to be one of my all-time favorite names. This is just one of the most bizarre coincidences in the history of hockey. But there's a bunch more of the wackiest coincidences that I've put together for you. So let's just get right into it, shall we? Jersey numbers have a lot of significance, as players often choose a number that's near and dear to their hearts. Unless you're Jesse from Bar Down Sports, like Jágr choosing 68, symbolizing the year Czechoslovakia became a democratic country, or Crosby choosing 87 for his birth year. But there's a few very spooky coincidences when it comes to players and their jersey numbers. The first includes two of my favorite players, and probably two of the most unique pair of players in the history of the league, Daniel and Henrik Sedin. Hank and Danny have always been associated with numbers, considering there's two of them to begin with. They were picked second and third overall, and eventually wore number 22 and 33 throughout their career in the NHL. Keep those numbers in mind as we start going through some of these incredible coincidences. All of these are from the same game, being their last and final home game in the NHL before they rode off into the sunset. Daniel scored his 22nd goal of the season, 33 seconds into the second period. The goal was also assisted by Henrik, aka number 33, as well as their longtime teammate Alex Edler, who wears number 23. The game eventually went into overtime, where the shots going into overtime were, you guessed it, 33-22. To top it all off, and I was in attendance when this happened, Daniel's game-winning overtime goal was scored at 2 minutes and 33 seconds of overtime, again assisted by Henrik and Edler. The goal was Daniel's 23rd of the season. The assist was the 23rd assist of Henrik's career, setting a new NHL record. And if you think about overtime being an extension of the third period, 2 minutes and 33 seconds into overtime is really 22 minutes and 33 seconds into the third period. And that's still not all. The game also took place on Bo Horvat's 23rd birthday, who would later go on to take Henrik's role as the team's captain after his retirement. The OT goal also gave Markstrom his 23rd win of the season. Power plays for the game were 3-2 in favor of Vancouver. Face-offs for the game were 33-22 in favor of Vancouver. I know it might sound like I'm grasping at straws here with some of these, but it's tough to downplay the numerology when it seemed to appear everywhere that night. It's still one of the best games I've ever been to in my life. Best $50 I've ever spent. Thank you, Mr. Scalper outside the arena trying to get rid of your ticket. If you're enjoying this video, I hope you subscribe to my channel, as 99.5% of my channel's views come from people who aren't subscribed. Thanks in advance if you help me move that stat in the right direction. Now let's get back to the spookiness of jersey number coincidences. The other crazy coincidence involving jersey numbers involves the great Pat Quinn, and this is actually a little bit spooky, just in time for spooky season. Pat Quinn unfortunately passed away on November 23, 2014. He's probably best known for his time behind the bench as one of the best coaches, both in the NHL and in international competition. But during his playing days with the Maple Leafs, he wore number 23. So again, let's keep that number in mind. The Leafs, in honor of the passing of one of their greatest alumni, decided to host a Pat Quinn night on their 23rd game of the year. With 23 seconds left in the first, Cody Franzen would score to make it 2-0 for the Leafs. Then, 23 seconds into the second period, Tyler Bozak would make it 3-0. The Capitals would retaliate later in the period to make it 3-1, but the Leafs would counter back just, you guessed it, 23 seconds later, when Leaf legend David Clarkson would extend the lead to 3 once again. The Leafs ended the game with 23 shots on net as well. But where the spookiness comes in is the origin story of how Quinn chose number 23 in the first place. The only reason Quinn was even able to wear number 23 was because the Leafs had just traded away Eddie Shack, who previously wore that number the previous year. This left the number open for Quinn to use when he came to the Leafs. But who was Eddie Shack traded for, you ask? Murray Oliver, who also passed away on the same exact day as Pat Quinn. Okay, that's enough of the spookiness. Let's look at my all-time favorite coincidence in the history of the NHL, and it involves revenge and an element of karma. Ooh, I love this one so much. In a seemingly normal game between the Blackhawks and the Avalanche in January of 2001, Steve Sullivan would get high-sticked right in the face by Colorado's Alex Tanguay. Sometimes I'm very thankful I'm not a hockey player and still have all my teeth. Sullivan ends up being cut pretty badly on the nose as he skates back to the bench to get repaired up. Until suddenly he must have heard something from the crowd as he turns around to look at a fan dead in the eyes. The fan taunts him for his bloody face. I don't think it's a great idea to taunt a hockey player when you look like you just got out of your office at Deloitte 10 minutes before the game. But being the bigger man, Sullivan skates away, as clearly he's aware of the rules of karma. Sullivan would eventually get stitched up and return to the game, but he wouldn't just return to an uneventful game. He would go on to score 2 shorthanded goals on the same penalty kill. As far as I can tell based on my Googling, this has only happened one other time when Michael Grabner scored shorthanded goals on the same penalty kill with the Islanders. Like, scoring shorthanded is already rare enough. But scoring twice in the same penalty kill, the odds are astronomically low. But that's not even the rarest, most unlikely thing that happened that night. Just a minute of game time later, Patrick Waugh would try to clear the puck around the boards, but would instead send it over the glass and into the crowd. And boy, did that puck find a good spot to land. The puck would hit none other than the straight-from-the-office D-bag himself. My absolute favorite part of this is his girlfriend or wife in green, who, while trying to help her injured man, is losing it while she gives Sullivan a thumbs up. God, just everything about this is perfection. From Sullivan skating away from the original exchange, to the 2 shorthanded goals on the same PK, to the puck hitting the same fan in almost the same spot as Sullivan's high stick, to his wife or girlfriend just hysterically losing it. I would honestly argue that this entire sequence is the rarest moment in all of hockey, if not all of sports altogether. It's all just so perfect. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you didn't, hey, just refresh the page and give it another chance. Appreciate ya.